Hello survivors, and before I start this video I just want to draw your attention to something that has been enabled on my channel, and it is super thanks. As you can see on the screen, it is the highlighted square in the little options. You should be able to see this below my videos. If you can't see it, there might be 3 dots where you can sort of scroll to find the options. It's not really great functionality right now, but this has been enabled on my channel. If you are someone who watches my live streams regularly, you'll know how Super Chat works, and this works pretty much the same way, except you can do it on a released video rather than just on a live stream. This highlights your comment in the chat, and anyone that does this I will highlight in a future video, hopefully within 24 to 48 hours after it's originally done, just to give a shout out, respond to the actual comment as well. And I have received 1 super thanks, and it was from Bashaum, and he said thanks. No, thank you very much for my first super thanks. This is obviously an option, but it's an added option to people who were willing to support my channel financially. Thank you very much if you already do that by hitting the join button. It does mean a lot for my channel. Thanks again, guys, and now on to the video. Hello survivors, and welcome to another Walking Dead Road to Survival video. And in this video we're actually going to be going over the current Battle Pass weapon, because I think potentially it is a little bit better than I think most people probably originally thought it was. It's definitely a little bit better than I originally thought it was, because obviously you can take it into the armory and do some upgrades on the weapon to change, you know, certain slots if you so wish. And the weapon I am talking about, of course, is the Royal Tier 50. You have to buy the Battle Pass to be able to get this, of course. It's this weapon right here. It's Emperor Ezekiel's Savage Katana. I did go over this in the preview to the Battle Pass itself. 40% attack, a huge bonus to AP when attacking. When attacking, a 100% chance to cause 4,000 trauma for 2 turns to the enemy. And in the last slot, it has improved attack damage boost, attacks deal 35% damage, and they ignore defense bonuses. Now, the third slot, adding trauma, kind of drew most of the attention because it is something that we haven't seen too often. We've only ever had, I think, 1 trauma weapon that is non-attached, and that was a Halloween weapon in the past. 4,000 trauma isn't that much. With the release of the new Ezekiel, which came after the Battle Pass announcement, you can stack this up to 6 times, so you could potentially get, you know, 24,000 trauma on a character with the adrenaline rush. But even that isn't that much. I did talk about it a little bit on my stream. It sounds like a lot, but stacking trauma isn't the biggest problem. Making it proc is. That's the biggest issue. It's quite a slow way of doing things unless a character comes out that actually forces a character to cleanse. You know, we've had that in the past in the S-Class era with Diego. Trauma really isn't that significantly powerful, but no doubt a character like that will be along the way. We'll probably need 2 or 3 other characters as well that can do decent amounts of trauma like Ezekiel, but that's a different matter. I was mainly focusing on this 3rd slot, but this 4th slot is actually obviously really good. This is a one that you can craft for alert weapons in the armory. It's also available on 2 other weapons that I know of in the game, and those 2 weapons are 2 of the strongest weapons of their trait. The first weapon is going to be this tough weapon, which was during a Christmas event, and as you can see in the last slot, it has improved attack damage boost. Attacks deal 35% damage and they ignore defense bonuses, the exact same buff. This can't be crafted for tough weapons, so it's just a nice off-trait bonus here. And then we also have this fast weapon, which is the Faction Assault weapon, which also in the last slot has improved attack damage boost, attacks deal 35% damage, and they ignore defense bonuses. Both of these weapons have the same boost that this one is going to be bringing to the table, so every trait then would be covered by this 4th slot if you did pick up this weapon. Why these weapons are so powerful though is the combination between the 4th slot and the 3rd slot, and they both have identical 3rd slots in that they do improved bonus attack, an extra 45% attack when doing attacks based on the enemy's HP. With the Faction Assault weapon, it's 35% or more HP. With the tough weapon, I crafted one in the armory where it's when their enemy is 50% or more HP. You can craft that exact same buff in the armory on the new strong weapon from the Battle Pass. Which means you can take the Battle Pass weapon from this to this. And this is exactly the same as the tough weapon from the Christmas event, and that weapon is top tier for sure. A big bonus about all of these weapons, obviously, is in the 4 slot, you actually ignore defense bonuses. This means defense buffs. So if you come up against a character with a 400% defense buff, that will not work against the character that is going to hold this weapon, whether it be the ones in fast, tough that we've already seen, or potentially this strong weapon if you were to pick it up and craft it like this. If you wanted to keep the trauma, like I said, it's a bit more slow going. This is much more powerful off of the early turns in the fight. The issue with strong characters is there isn't really the character to utilize this weapon like there are in the other traits. In fast, there is Agent 46 and Heng Yen. That is the top tier weapon for those characters. In tough, there is Raven and there is also Winter Harrison. And what's the benefit on tough characters in particular is they already counter someone like Sebastian Milton to a certain extent due to the fact that they're doing actual trait damage against these characters, but now they would bypass the defense bonus on those. But now they would also bypass his defense bonus, as I showed in a previous clip. With strong characters, there isn't really anyone who has crazy powerful turn 1 signature moves other than someone like Ghost. And it is a little bit risky with Ghost because if you take down one character, it's completely random who the next character is going to be taken down. The other characters have at least a significant amount of control when it comes to, you know, doing that first turn signature move, other than Heng Yen. But his bonus is, of course, that he has reduction on, you know, paybacks and so on and so forth. He's only really good against particular teams anyway. So we're kind of in the same position that we were before, where I said it really depends on strong characters that come out in the future based on if that trauma is going to be useful. Now we're in the same position with this upgraded weapon. It really depends on strong characters that come out in the future if they're going to be able to utilize this. A character that would actually be able to utilize this to a very top level in terms of their pure kit is Shane, because he has a very hard-hitting first turn signature move. However, he is the leader, and generally speaking, you would want a 1535 or even his actual weapon that was released during his initial release, which was a boosted version of 1535. So again, we're going to have to wait and see what strong characters come out. You could potentially use it on Corvus, turn 1. You can do a triple hit on that signature move. That could be decent. His base attack isn't massive. He is, of course, on the last kind of generation of stats. He was one of the last characters to be released in the Generation 1 stats for Mythics. Promos are pretty much the thing you're going to have to look out for in terms of who's going to be able to utilize this weapon to a top tier. Signature moves is generally the way to go, just because it's early on in the fight. Maybe there'll be a follow-up strong to come. I don't think we've actually had one yet. We've had all the other traits from what I remember. But any strong character that does attack-based signature move or attack-based rushes will be able to utilize this to an extremely high level. Characters like Titan and Crag do on their signature moves, but they do not on their adrenaline rushes. So you won't be able to utilize this weapon as high there. Pretty much got to wait for that strong version of Raven, strong version of Agent 46. Line damage, maybe single attacks to both, big hits. Going to utilize this weapon extremely nicely. So do tell me if you sort of changed your opinion on this weapon in the Battle Pass. I always say going for attack team things to boost your account is probably the best way to go. Whether you're spending or whether you're not, your resources should be spent on boosting your attack team because that is the thing you're going to use the most. You obviously can boost your defense team as well if you're able to. You should not sacrifice your attack team progress for a defense team progress. So if you're only willing to buy a battle pass now and again, this could potentially be the one. It is a little bit of a lottery though, just because there may never be a strong character to come out to utilize this weapon as I upgraded it. But it is worth noting that weapons do have pretty good longevity. This weapon will be forever good, and you're just waiting on a good character to come out that can use it. As a minimum, in the meantime, you can use it in other game modes if you so wish. For instance, you could probably put it on Ghost in Faction Assault and he'll hit a lot harder, being able to take out those secondary characters a lot easier, just to decap them and focus on the boss. But do tell me your ideas when it comes to the Battle Pass weapon if you're going to pick it up. Let me know in the comments down below. That is the end of my video. I want to thank you very much for tuning in, and as always, keep on surviving, guys. Keep on surviving.